The typical stereotype of athletes of any kind are that they're tough and you don't really think of them crying or being afraid of something. Or in today's world, some may argue the opposite, that athletes are softer and act more like babies, so I don't know. But what I do know is the concept of athletes, in this case baseball players, being afraid of ghosts, like actually scared of ghosts, being hilarious. I think most people could agree on that, and something I also find to be awesome because it's so relatable. Nothing about Mookie Betts, for example, on the surface is relatable. A guy making $30 million a year to play a sport in Los Angeles, I mean, barely anyone in the world can say they can relate to that. Mookie as a person, of course, is more relatable, but just like most athletes, you don't see that side of him as much. But in cases of the Pfister Hotel in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where MLB teams stay at when visiting the Brewers, there are plenty of cases of not just Mookie, but players all around the league, showing that they are at the end of the day just like the average person. It proves money has nothing to do with how immune you are to acting like a little girl on the topic of ghosts. And I love it, because I'm the same freaking way and I'm not afraid to admit it. Yeah, I'm afraid of the thought of being in a haunted place, just like so many MLB players are, apparently. The Pfister Hotel was built in 1893, and it's very nice, hence the reason MLB teams stay there when visiting Milwaukee. It's not some motel, but it's horrifying. So wherever you are, turn off the lights, get in the scariest environment possible, and listen to some of the most wild stories you'll hear regarding the Pfister Hotel. Some of these names may also surprise you, and these stories may also be more funny than scary. But anyway, when asked about it, Texas Rangers legend Michael Young straight up said, place before going in depth on his experience there, while also making it clear he's not crazy, as he's not someone to typically believe ghost stories, saying that one night he was lying in bed after a night game. It was out cold. His room was locked, but he started hearing these footsteps inside the room stomping around. He heard all these stories about the hotel, so he was wide awake at that point before he heard the footsteps again. So he yelled out, "Hey, make yourself at home, hang out, have a seat, but do not wake me up, okay?" After that, apparently Young didn't hear a thing for the rest of the night, saying that he just let him know he was welcome, that the two of them could be pals, and he could marinate in there for as long as he needed to, just as long as he didn't wake him up. Pretty disrespectful to assume it was a dude ghost, but whatever. Young's story is more so funny, especially considering it's clear this stuff didn't bother him, as he hit very well in the games he ever played in Milwaukee, which weren't much since Texas didn't play there much. But this next name you probably were not expecting. Bryce Harper, one of the biggest badasses in the game, someone who isn't just not afraid of the big moment, but lives for it. Yes, he's afraid of ghosts. Now, to be fair, it's 2024 and Harper's story is from 2012, so he was practically like 15, but still. While staying in the Pfister back in 2012, Harper had laid out his shirt and pants on a table by the end of the bed before going to sleep for the night, and when he woke up in the morning, Harper says he swears on everything that the clothes were on the floor and the table was on the opposite side of the room against the wall, saying he honestly thought there might be someone in his room. He then started actually looking around and checked to see if the door was still latched, and it was, and he thought maybe it was a prank from a teammate, but nobody admitted anything, leading Harper asking to be moved to a different room. Carlos Gomez, when he played, was your typical screw your unwritten rules, flip your bat, watch your home runs, I'm not afraid of you kind of player. But the Pfister Hotel will bring the cowardliness out of anyone, saying that he heard voices while staying there, saying the worst instance being when he got out of the shower one year and heard static playing on his iPod. So he grabbed the device, which then changed to another song, and he proceeded to run out of the room and into the lobby before even putting his pants on. Literally saying that he's scared to go there. Quote, "Everything's scary. Everything in the hotel. The paintings and pictures. It's a lot of old crazy stuff. No good, man. No good." Adding on that they should change the hotel the team stays at, considering nobody likes it, asking why they always put them in the same hotel when you can't sleep. And it's such a valid question, actually. Look, even if there are no ghosts and it's all make-believe and made-up stories, wouldn't you think after all these years, just to make sure they stay at some other hotel, just to at least get some sleep so nobody worries about it? Is that the only fancy hotel in that area? It might be. Apparently Donald Trump stayed there during the latest Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Now, to be fair, after almost getting shot, nothing else would probably scare me. Ghosts would be an afterthought, but still, they're just a bunch of cheap, dirty hotels at the Pfister just appearing as the only nice one. What the hell is going on in Milwaukee? Giancarlo Stanton hates being there as long as possible, saying anything is better than when his team is in town for a 4-game series, calling it freaky as shit with the headshot paintings on the walls, the old curtains everywhere, and that it reminds him of the Disneyland haunted house. We're talking Giancarlo Stanton here, legit the strongest dude in baseball. Nobody hits the ball harder than he does, and ghosts draw the line for him. Again, I get it though. First baseman G-Man Choi has talked about seeing and feeling ghosts, but unlike the others, he's comfortable with it, claiming he's felt a spirit crawl up behind him to hug him and another whispered into his ear. Speaking of being comfortable with it, John Gray full-on embraces it and has a passion for the paranormal, exploring the hotel back when he was a rookie with a K2 meter, a device that supposedly detects anomalies in the electromagnetic field caused by spiritual activity. I guess he's something of a Ghostbuster himself. Ronald Azuña Jr., back when he was on the Cardinals before the Braves, claimed he saw a ghost, and so did his teammate Carlos Martinez, who had gone live on Instagram to tell people what was going on in the middle of the night, saying that he and Ozuna were in another teammate's room so they could all sleep together, and if they see ghosts again, they're all going to fight together. Former Pirates manager Clint Hurdle had to play the role of a dad to a 5-year-old when one of his players, who he didn't name, went to his room telling him that a ghost turned his TV on twice, and Hurdle had to settle him down so the player can go back to his room and sleep at ease. And the first few times visiting the hotel when the A's visited, Brent Rooker didn't seem to notice anything out of the blue. He said some of the lights would flicker, but just chalked that up to faulty wiring from a 125-year-old building. But then Rooker noticed that the TV in his hotel room was automatically turning on and off at various times throughout the night, and also randomly changing channels. Rooker said he had it on the golf channel, and he'd be on his laptop looking down, and when he looked back up, he'd see it was on some other channel. One night he fell asleep with the golf channel on and woke up at like 4 a.m. to see it was off, which he assumed was just like a sleep timer for the TV, only to wake back up at 7:30 or 8 and it was back on a different channel than the one he fell asleep to. Rooker is probably the most normal when it came to how he reacted to the ghost stuff. Like, he admits some things happened but didn't think it was anything that wild and didn't freak out about it. But former Giants third baseman and 3-time World Series champion Pablo Sandoval, oh, he was not having it, telling ESPN that he went to take a shower and remembered putting his iPod next to a speaker, only for it to be playing music when he came out, claiming he didn't know why, with Sandoval and his teammate Edgar Renteria, the guy who hit the go-ahead 3-run home run in the 2010 World Series clincher, both refused to stay with the rest of the team at the Pfister that same year. Hall of Famer Adrian Beltre hated anybody touching his head. That may have been his biggest fear, but a close second was likely ghosts, because go back 23 years when with the Dodgers, Beltre said he heard someone in the hallway and on his door, but after investigating, found no one there. But then later, he saw the air conditioning and TV repeatedly switching itself off, and when he went to bed, Beltre woke up awake because of pounding noises from behind his headboard. Damn, so the ghost must have been getting after it. So after all these occurrences, Beltre resorted to taking a bat to bed with him for protection and reported that he only slept 2 hours over the course of his 3-night stay. So I did some digging and went back to Beltre's 3 games against the Brewers in Milwaukee that year. It was July 23rd through the 25th in 01. And since we're going to take Beltre's word for it, he still got on base 5 times, got 3 hits, with one of them being a home run on just 2 hours of sleep. And the Dodgers won that series. Sticking with the Dodgers, Mookie Betts in 2023 claimed that he doesn't believe in ghosts, but just in case decided to stay at an Airbnb instead. Yeah, sure. I also don't believe jumping off a cliff will kill you, but I'm not going to do it because, you know, I don't have to. Mookie has stayed at the Pfister before and didn't actually even experience anything, but said he couldn't sleep because he was too spooked, thinking every noise could be something. Funny enough, Mookie, who's been out 2 months because of a broken hand this year, his first game back was in Milwaukee and he hit a home run. I'm beginning to notice a trend here where the guys most petrified of the ghosts at this hotel hit well during their time in Milwaukee. Maybe the ghosts are actually helping them and they're just choosing to be assholes and disrespect them instead of thank them. But either way, things haven't changed this time around, and Mookie also decided to opt for an Airbnb rather than stay at the Pfister. Would you stay at this hotel? Have you stayed at this hotel? Let me know your thoughts, and thank you for watching.